Hollywood had a new golden girl. A $220 million movie. An SNL hosting gig. Every brand wanted her face. Every studio wanted her name. Then one bad ad, one silent mistake, and one controversial TV show later, everything collapsed. This is how Hollywood builds you up, and exactly how it tears you down. Let's start from the beginning. 2020, Sydney Sweeney joins the cast of Euphoria on HBO. She plays Cassie Howard, the girl next door. Sweet, vulnerable, always making the wrong choices for the right reasons. Audiences connect with her instantly. Then comes The White Lotus, a critically acclaimed HBO drama watched by millions. Sydney plays a young woman trapped in a toxic relationship. She's quiet, layered, and completely convincing. By 2023, industry insiders are saying her name in every room. She's not just an actress anymore. She's the actress. But Hollywood doesn't just hand you a crown. It tests you first. December 2023. Sydney is promoting a new romantic comedy called Anyone But You. To generate buzz, her team pulls a stunt. They hang bras on the letters of the Hollywood sign, the most iconic landmark in Los Angeles. It makes headlines everywhere, but the reaction is split. Fans love the boldness. Critics call it cheap and desperate. And Hollywood executives quietly take note. She was pushing boundaries. The industry was watching, not to cheer her on, but to see how far she'd go. Early 2024, the movie releases. Anyone But You is a straightforward romantic comedy. Sydney stars opposite Glenn Powell. The chemistry is real. The film is fun. Audiences show up. It earns over $200 million worldwide on a $20 million budget. A massive hit by any standard. The internet declares, Sydney Sweeney is so back. Then 1 month later, February 2024, everything shifts. Madam Web comes out. It's a Marvel superhero film. It receives terrible reviews and earns far less than expected. A clear box office disappointment. Sydney is not the main character, but she is the most famous name in the cast. So when the press looks for a headline, they find one. Sydney Sweeney can't open a movie. That's how fast the narrative flips in Hollywood. 6 months from beloved to overexposed. The internet moves on, and the industry follows. By mid-2024, Sydney Sweeney is one of the most in-demand faces in advertising. This is not unusual for a rising Hollywood star. Brand deals are how actors build wealth outside of film contracts. And Sydney is smart about it. She is not just accepting checks, she is building a personal brand. But 2 of those deals would come back to haunt her. The first is with Dr. Squatch. It is a men's soap and grooming company known for loud, humor-based advertising. Their entire marketing identity is built around being aggressively masculine and deliberately over the top. Sydney films a promotional video for them. The concept. Her actual bathwater, bottled and sold as a novelty soap product. The internet cannot decide how to feel about it. Half the audience calls it brilliant. A self-aware, confident move by a woman who knows exactly how she is perceived and is profiting from it on her own terms. The other half calls it degrading. A sign that she is leaning too hard into a certain kind of attention, rather than building a serious career. Both reactions get millions of views, which means the campaign works, for Dr. Squatch. For Sydney, it adds another layer to an image that is already becoming difficult to control. Then comes the second deal, and this one is far more damaging. July 2025, American Eagle, a popular American clothing brand. Sydney films a commercial that is meant to be a simple, clever play on words. She looks into the camera and says, genes are passed down from parents to offspring. They determine hair color, personality, and eye color. Then she pauses, smiles, and says, my genes are blue. Jeans as in denim. A harmless wordplay ad. But a large part of the internet hears something different. A blonde, blue-eyed woman talking about genes being passed down. About traits like hair color and eye color. To many people, it sounds uncomfortably close to the language used by eugenics movements, the idea that certain genetics are superior to others. She almost certainly didn't intend any of that. The ad was written by a marketing team. It was approved by a major corporation. But none of that matters once the clip goes viral. Then Donald Trump shares the ad on social media, calling it the hottest ad out there. That single post changes everything. American Eagle's stock jumps 23%. But Sydney's reputation takes a hit she isn't prepared for. The left accuses her of sending far-right signals. The right embraces her as a symbol of their values. And Sydney, caught in the middle of a political firestorm she never asked for, says nothing. For 5 months. No statement, no clarification, nothing. In today's media environment, silence reads as agreement. 5 months of silence reads as endorsement. When she finally responds in December, it is too late. I did it because I love the jeans, I don't support those views. The labels had already been written. MAGA Barbie, Republican Princess, Dog Whistle Denim Girl. Once the internet decides who you are, a single quote won't change it. But the worst was still ahead. Because the show that launched her career was about to become the thing that ended it. In early 2026, Euphoria returns for its 3rd season. Sydney is back as Cassie Howard, and the writers take the character to places nobody expected. In episode 3, Cassie starts an explicit content subscription page online, the kind that has become controversial in public conversations about the entertainment industry and how women are perceived in it. The scene is graphic and played without irony. Longtime fans of the show are stunned. In episode 5, Cassie uses a slur that refers to people with disabilities. Advocacy groups respond immediately and publicly. Then, episode 7, a moment that breaks everything. Cassie sits across from a polarizing internet personality and delivers this line. A modern man saying he wants a traditional girlfriend who cooks and cleans is treated the same as if he were screaming the N-word. The clip spreads across social media within minutes. 2 million views in the first hour. The character trends for 3 days straight. But people are not debating the writing or the show. They are debating Sydney Sweeney. She did not write that line. She was given it by the show's writers, but that distinction disappears online. The conversation becomes about her choices, her values, and what kind of roles she is willing to take. The numbers tell the story clearly. Interest in Sydney Sweeney at her peak in early 2024 has dropped significantly since. Her recent projects are generating a fraction of the online attention that anyone but you did. The comments on her social media have changed tone entirely. Early 2023, they were overwhelmingly positive. By late 2025, the dominant sentiment is fatigue. People feel overexposed, and when audiences feel overexposed, they stop showing up. So what is her next move? She is currently preparing for a dramatic role, a biopic about Christy Martin, a real woman who became a world champion boxer in the 1990s and survived years of domestic abuse before escaping her abuser. It is exactly the kind of serious, awards-focused performance that actresses use to reframe how the industry sees them. Sydney is reportedly gaining significant muscle mass for the role. It is a total physical and creative transformation. This is her attempt to say, I am more than the image you built around me. The problem is that Hollywood does not always reward that attempt. If the film succeeds, some will say she got lucky. If it struggles, it confirms the narrative that was already forming. Either way, she is no longer in control of how her story is being told. She is still working. She has major projects in development. She is producing her own films. But the perception has shifted in a way that is hard to reverse. 18 months ago, people compared her to Julia Roberts, a generational star with the talent and the business instincts to last decades. Today, the comparisons are to Megan Fox, a genuinely talented actress who got consumed by her own image, was discarded by the industry, and spent the better part of a decade trying to find her way back. Hollywood runs this pattern on a loop. It finds a young woman, it markets her body and her face. It makes her famous for being wanted. Then when that image becomes complicated, when she tries to be more than what they built, they call her difficult, overexposed, or simply not talented enough. Sydney Sweeney did not design the image that made her famous, but she is the one paying the price for it. The fall is not final. Careers have recovered from worse, but it is real, and the window to stop it is closing. So the question is this: did she make mistakes that cost her? Yes, the silence after the ad was a real error. Some of the choices she said yes to were questionable. But was she also handed a situation designed to be impossible? A system that rewards a specific kind of attention and then punishes you for receiving it? That is worth thinking about. Drop rise in the comments if you believe the Christy Martin film is the turning point she needs. Drop fall if you think the momentum has already shifted too far.